Hello, neighbors. All I wanted was for this election to just be about the local issues and what is best for our town. You can see my earliest videos, which are mostly math with a little music thrown in to make it less dull. It breaks my heart that now so much of my analysis is still issues related, but more investigative journalism looking at corruption. And boy, we have a lot to cover here, so I'm trying something new and will break this video up into multiple parts. So even though I had no idea at the beginning of this, the level of rot and corruption in our community, you don't run organizations as large and complex as I have without being prepared. I considered it both petty and a waste of time to call out the opposing side's reporting issues and gaps. I charitably assumed they were honest errors, and as long as they did not seem material, deemed them not worth distracting from the real issues we face. But I have kept records of their infractions in case I ever needed to discuss it. Since I just learned they are expert watchdogs for campaign reporting, I will start sharing the documentation of their errors, and we now must consider their errors may not be mistakes, but actually intentional bad faith. After all, I am an independent, having to learn all this from scratch, and despite their concerted efforts, they had to deliberately misunderstand some very basic facts in order to come up with anything. They, on the other hand, are a group of connected campaigns, mostly supporting incumbents, and all backed by a hyperactive local party. Unfortunately, Neil Allaire is not as concerned about local anti-Semitism as he claims to be, since the exact date he and Heidi launched their coordinated slander and lies, which we'll discuss in part 2, he launched a series of ridiculous complaints about errors in campaign reports. Shocking how hard he fights for the corrupt incumbent despite the strong support my campaign receives from not only unaffiliateds, third parties, and Republicans, but also many rank and file Democrats, and even concerned allies like local environmental groups. All of them appalled by the Broomfield Democrats betraying the environment and public health. I would love to know what the state and national Democratic parties think of this. Of course, consistently when they do this, suddenly a bunch of pretty graphics and coordinated social media posts all go up, and this has been no exception. On that note, I wonder how many of these are paid agents, and look forward to learning more from their future campaign filings. If there is no record of it, then I think we have found something else that needs to be investigated. Like and subscribe, folks. Like and subscribe. So, his hilariously ridiculous allegations fall into two broad buckets. Number one, not recognizing in-kind donations for cross-messaging between the two Ward 5 campaigns and the recall committee. Number two, not recognizing the value of hosting on YouTube and either the vast sums of money paid for these videos or the in-kind donations for the vast sums of money they represent. The first one is quite simple. My opponent was the target of a successful recall petition. The fact that she was spared a recall question because she was already up for re-election is just good luck for her. The terrible performance in her office that spurred a massive number, over 1,300, of her constituents to sign a recall over a short period of time is a critical fact about my opponent, a disgraceful mark on her record, and a large part of why I was inspired to run. I will not comment on the Botros campaign. It's simply inappropriate for me to do so, but I will observe that she is the successor candidate and quite literally part of the recall portion of the ballot. Exposing the damage done by the Ward 5 incumbents and the backlash it caused from their constituents is all connected within the Ward 5 races. All that said, I will discuss closely with the Broomfield Election Office to see if we need to account for anything in our upcoming reports. Since most of our invoices are still outstanding and therefore have not actually triggered yet, we will have ample time to properly attribute and cross-document if anything is needed to cure our reporting. Unfortunately for Neil and the campaigns he supports, there has been extensive cross-campaign endorsements and commingling of messages between the campaigns he supports across all the wards and therefore unrelated races. I'm sure he and the candidate committees of the incumbents he supports will all be grateful when we help map that out. Regarding the other bucket of allegations, posting on YouTube is free, and I do every single bit of these videos on my own. I post to the AII channel because I happen to also own that channel, and managing multiple channels is, frankly, more than I can handle. I clarify these videos are not part of the AII umbrella because I am solely speaking on my own behalf and not speaking in any way in my professional capacity. That's just simply good hygiene. Given I quite literally only taught myself how to do video editing a couple months ago, I am flattered Mr. Allaire thinks these videos are so exceedingly well done that they can only be the result of expensive agencies and experts. Just imagine how effective I am at my day job or how effective I will be on city council. It's not too late for him to switch his endorsement to me. I'll also remind everyone that in the video about a month ago, we showed that their big donor was incorrectly listed as unemployed. I even included a link to the Secretary of State search where literally anyone that wants to can quickly validate it themselves through LLC filings and the donor's other donations that were correctly attributed. Perhaps Neil Allaire and Heidi Henkel really don't want you to know their real estate connections when so much of your money is being given away to private developers. And I think this is a good place to wrap part one. If you, like me, desperately wish we were talking about and addressing issues instead of these kind of trivial gotchas, well, you have your ballots. Vote now.